everyone, my name is Mehek. I hope you guys are doing fine and safe, and like always, I also hope that you guys are reading. The book that I finished reading is something that I'm going to strongly recommend you guys to read. Actually, I'm too excited about it. Even before I've told you what the book is all about, I'm recommending that you strongly read this book. It's a heartfelt and a very radiant read. The book is These Precious Days. It's by Patchett. That's how it looks. I love the cover, it's beautiful. So this book is actually a collection of, like I said, heartfelt essays, and this book was actually written in lockdown. So this book, the author, when she was spending her days in the lockdown, she wrote this book. So she found it difficult to, she's a fiction writer. I mean, her earlier famous books have been fiction, but she found it really difficult to write fiction in lockdown, and she wanted to really feel close to being a writer. That's when she decided that she's going to write essays, and this book is the result of all those heartfelt essays. These essays are about love, life, family, marriage, divorce, friendships, books, the love for writing, and so many other things. What I'm going to do is quickly share some of my favorite essays from this book. The first one is actually a very beautiful essay. It's the author's heartfelt dedication to her father and her two stepfathers. So she actually had three fathers, each of whom, shaped her, came in her life at different stages and shaped her and made her a woman that she is today. And she has absolute admiration, and she's grateful for all three of them. In fact, she says, her own real father always thought that her writing is more of a hobby and less of a job. But because he was so sure that she's going to fail, or writing is really not a suitable career for her, it always kept her alert and striving for success. Whereas her stepfathers, they always accepted her and adored her, and she was just grateful for these three men in her life. In fact, there is this picture of her, if you see, with her three fathers here. Yeah, I think the first essay was itself amazing. The next essay that I really liked and found interesting was this essay called The Year of No Shopping, which basically talks about you pledge and you promise, where the author pledged and promised to not buy anything for an entire year. So here, she gives this example wherein she wanted a Fitbit for really long, and then suddenly she didn't want it anymore, and that's exactly what happened with me. I remember for the longest time I wanted a fitness tracker, and I guess that feeling was there for a week, and then suddenly I realized I didn't wanted one. And that's what the author says through this essay of No Shopping for a Year, that whenever you want something, just wait for a while. Chances are that that feeling is going to pass. It's more like, you're going to self-reflect that if you actually need it or you just want it, and it also what it also helps is avoid the idea of impulse buying. In fact, this whole essay was quite profound, I would say, and it gives you this wisdom that we must really not hold things that we do not want, and before adding it to the cart, we should actually think and just self-reflect that if we actually want it or not. The next essay, I have the list here, so I'm just going to look so that I don't forget. The next essay, again, which was nice and sweet, which the essay was on knitting, where the author talks about how knitting saved her life because it helped her quit smoking. So the urge that she used to feel when she before writing, or she wanted to channel her thoughts, she used to smoke, and in order to avoid that, she started knitting. So how knitting helped her to give up on and to quit smoking. The next essay is on her, which is a beautiful essay on her best friend Tavia. She says that she was, and when you read this essay on her best friend, you realize what a perfect best friend she was, and you would want a same kind of a best friend in your life. And here she basically says, the she defines the beauty of evolving friendship, that true friendship is not based on, you know, how close you are to your friend geographical wise. Like, it's not about how, you know, close you stay to each other, but it's the closeness of the heart that matters, you know. So she and her friend, they moved to different cities and they evolved as person, and, you know, different personalities and different stages of life and everything, but still at the end of the day, how close they felt, you know, every time. And that is what matters when it comes to true friendship. The next essay, which was again very funny and interesting, was you know, this essay called Sisters, wherein she talks about, you know, how you know, people always commented she looks so similar to her mom, that, and you know, her mom was always so radiant and young, and she never aged basically. So people actually thought that both of them are sisters actually. And this essay also describes what a close bond she shared with her mom, which was, I think, very beautiful. The next essay, which was on cover stories, where you actually realize the behind the scenes and you come to know about how her, you know, the author's Anne's different, you know, covers of her books came to be. Like, one of her books, you know, she sourced it from a painting by this author, and you also read about how this cover came to be, which is actually a painting, which I'm going to let you know. So yeah, this chapter on cover story spoke about how she came to decide about on certain covers of her books. Then you have other essays, you know, that talk about that how she has this open door policy, wherein, you know, her house is always filled with visitors. And then there was essays about her college trips and how one day she acted brave and she booked this solo trip, and then when the time came to leave for the trip, you know, she got all cold feet. And then there was this also where this essay, which I really found interesting, and you know, it really made me admire the author, was, you know, her decision from very young days that she didn't wanted children, and how, you know, the world kept telling her that she must want children, and, you know, she just decided that she didn't want children, and how after a point of time she just stopped bothering about what people felt, you know. And it's funny, when I was reading it, I realized that how the world, you know, because we're women, the world decides things for us, that you must want children and you must have, you know, this feeling of wanting children or a child of your own. And the author kept denying it, you know. She was so clear in her head about what she wanted and what she didn't. And I think that was quite you know, admiring about the author, that I've you know, felt through this essay. Yeah, and then you know, obviously because she's a writer, so her love for books, you know, kept shining throughout the book. In fact, she has a bookstore in Nashville, which is in US, and I found it you know, quite an interesting fact. In fact, if I ever visit US, I would love to visit her bookstore. And quickly I would like to read, you know, these quotes by her, which exactly gives away you know, what she feels about books, her exact sentiments. So she says this: all these years later, it is still the best description of how I feel about books. I would stand in an airport to tell people about how much I love books. Reading them, writing them, making sure other people felt comfortable reading and writing them. I think I would do exactly that. You know, I would stand at the airport or anywhere else and tell people how much I love books and how much I want them to love books and, you know, love reading. Then there's this another thing that she says: I promote the books I love tirelessly, because a book can so easily get lost in the mad shuffle of the world, and it needs someone with a loud voice to hold it up and praise it. I am that person. As every reader knows, the social contract between you and a book you love is not complete until you can hand the book to someone else and say, here you are, going to love this. I always thought that. You know, so it's always a thing, you know. For example, that is what I'm doing right now, because I love this book so much. I'm out here, you know, sharing this video with you guys and telling you guys that how much I love this book and how much I want you to read this book, you know. So yeah, and now lastly, the longest essay in this book is also the title of the book, These Precious Days. This one is, you know, full emotional essay, and it's going to make you feel so many emotions. So it's about These Precious Days is about this woman called Suki. Suki Raphael was a background story, and one day discovers a short story book by Tom Hanks. And that's when she gets in touch with Suki, who is Tom Hanks' assistant, and they become pen pals. And Suki, one day she comes to know that she's suffering through pancreatic cancer, and she comes to stay with Anne for the treatment, and they spend the time together. This is in 2020 during the lockdown, so they're locked together, and Suki is undergoing through the treatment. And this whole essay is about, how when the world is under complete lockdown, and there's COVID and confusion and chaos, how these two women spend time, and Anne is staying with her husband as well, so all three of them locked together, and how they, the grace that they show, and how Suki is battling with her cancer, and there's so many things that they share together, whether it is the Kundalini yoga that they do, and how Suki rediscovers her passion for painting. In fact, that's what I was about to tell you, that this thing that you see here, the cover image, is actually the painting by Suki. So yeah. And you also realize in this essay that what a generous and a wonderful friend Anne is, how she took Suki, at her place, and how helped her during her cancer treatment, and what a wonderful friend she was, and generous person, and kind, I would say. So yeah, that is what these precious days essay is all about, and that is what majorly this book is all about. I think I strongly recommend this book. Like I said at the start, I really would want you all to read it. It leaves you feeling warm, definitely, and you will fall in love with the author. I mean, I truly admire her, the way she looks at world. I love her handwriting, how she perceives everything, and what a wonderful friend she is. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book of collection of essays, right from life, love, family, and it, I think at the end of the day, tells you things that really matter to you. And yeah, that's all on this beautiful book. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Till then, take care. Bye bye.